Now introducing the Week 3 guest on Beat the Experts, Mason High School counselor and freshman football coach, Mr. Affatato.
The Bears.
All right, welcome back to Week 3 of Beat the Experts, and Evan and I are looking to bounce back. That seems to be a common theme with us in the first couple of weeks. We tied the first week. Took a pretty bad loss last week. I think total points we're down right now. I think 23-19, so we're down 4 after 2 weeks of football. And we got a football coach here with us, so he probably knows a thing or two about football, so it could be kind of tough, but I have faith in Evan and I, and we're going to get started. Tonight's game, the Thursday night game, the Panthers against the Texans. Last week, I wanted to take the Panthers against the Saints, but Evan disagreed. We ended up going with the Saints. That lost us a point. We're not making that mistake again. Panthers over the Texans.
All right, fellas, for my first pick, I'm also going with the Panthers. You're playing with a backup quarterback from the Texans. In the NFL, with a short week and a backup quarterback, it's usually bad news. Panthers, big win.
Our next game of the week, first 1 o'clock game, Washington against the Bills. Last week, Ben wanted to take the Dolphins instead of the Bills, and that was a blowout, big mistake. Bills won. Unfortunately, we took the Dolphins, and we're not going to make the same mistake again. We're taking the Bills in Buffalo.
I'm going to agree with the experts, and I'm also going with the Bills. It's a tough place to play in Buffalo. They're playing pretty well on defense, and you also got Josh Allen with a bunch of weapons. I'm going with the Bills. You can't bet against Josh Allen.
All right, the next game, the next 1 o'clock game, you may have an opinion about. The Chicago
Big
Bears
opinion.
playing against the Cleveland Browns.
The Bears.
Not a huge fan of either team, like personally. I'm going with the Browns. It pains me to pick the Cleveland Browns. I really don't like the Cleveland Browns, but I don't think the Bears have enough.
Listen, fans, you got Justin Fields, Ohio State Buckeyes, starting for the first time. He led the Bears last week against the Bungalows, and we're going all in Super Bowl, the Bears.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't really say Fields really led the Bears against the Bengals. It was more
Big win.
Burrow throwing picks that kind of led the Bears in their defense. I mean, Fields probably had like 60 passing yards. So.
Maybe so. Run threat. He's a big run threat.
All right, next game, we got the Ravens and Lions. Pretty easy choice. Again, going on the theme here with making fun of Ben, the guy who decided it would be a good idea to take the Lions at Lambeau, a place they never win. Of course, Lions lost against the Packers. Just made our loss worse last week to Coach Bly. So we're going with the Ravens this week. Pretty obvious choice, especially coming off a big win against the Chiefs.
Listen, I love the Lions head coach. He loves to bite people's ankles. He's a great guy. He's in there scrapping all the time. But I got to tell you, the Ravens, even with their 6th-string running back, still a little bit better because of Lamar Jackson. I'm going Ravens at least by 6.
Next up, we got an AFC South matchup, and a team that Evan and I were kind of high on coming into the year, the Indianapolis Colts, but they've proved us wrong a little bit. I think we can both agree we were wrong about them early on, and we're not going to make that mistake again. Again, that seems like a common theme, us saying we're not going to make that mistake again, but we're going to pick the Tennessee Titans.
I'm also going with the experts. I'm going with the Titans as well. Listen, you can't stop Derrick Henry. Carson Wentz might not play. It's the real deal. We're going Titans all in. Derrick Henry, 300 yards next week, this Sunday.
Next up, we got the Chargers and the Chiefs. Last week, the Chiefs kind of a surprising loss to the Ravens when they were up by a ton. That was Patrick Mahomes' first loss in September in his career, and that's going to remain his first loss. Chiefs are beating the Chargers in Arrowhead.
This is where I differ. The Chargers head coach is a John Carroll University grad. His wife went to John Carroll. He coached at John Carroll. It's where I went to school. I'm going Chargers upset of the Chiefs because Justin Herbert is a stud. Justin Herbert will lead the Chargers in Patrick Mahomes' 2nd September loss.
All right, Saints-Patriots. We already talked about last week's game between the Saints and the Panthers. We don't need to go in more detail about that. The one I was right. We don't need to go into more detail about that again. And I'm not picking the Saints again, especially against the Patriots. Mac Jones, I think, has surprised some people, so I'm gonna go with the Patriots.
It's a tough place to play in Patriotville, Gillette Stadium. Patriots typically win there. I don't think that Winston has enough in the tank. I think he was a one-week wonder. Dropped him from my fantasy team already. I'm going Patriots as well. Bill Belichick, baby.
And now we kind of have one of the most boring games of the week, the Falcons and Giants.
Ooh,
Two
boo.
0-2 teams. Giants kind of fell apart last week in that Thursday night game against Washington with that offsides penalty. But we're going to take the Giants this week. The Falcons didn't come out pretty flat this year, offensively and defensively. Giants just a little more talent overall on the offense and the defense.
I'm going with the Giants as well, fellas. This is a pretty bad 1 o'clock game. Not a lot of excitement, but I'm thinking Saquon Barkley maybe feeling a little fresher. Daniel Jones, if he could catch the snap, would be good. And maybe get it to his playmakers.
Next game is a tough one.
Ooh.
Bengals and the Steelers. Evan and I's team headed to Pittsburgh, and as much as we'd love to pick the Bengals, and as much as we'd like to get Houday a win here, things just aren't going well for Cincinnati sports right now, as it's been the theme for the last 10 years. And
More than that.
I don't think Sunday's going to turn anything around. So, unfortunately, the Steelers are going to come out on top.
As many of you know, I went to the Bears-Bengals game last week, and there's no way I would pick the Bengals, so I'm all in on the Steelers. And after the Bears drilled them, now so the Steelers will. Sorry, Houday.
Now we got Cardinals and Jaguars, the last of the 1 o'clock games. Again, pretty obvious pick, even though it's in Jacksonville. The Cardinals playing really well. Kyler Murray, one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the league. We're going with the Cardinals.
Fellas, I'm also going with the Cardinals. Urban Meyer is on the hot seat. He's ready to go to California, to USC as the new head coach. He's got one foot out the door. I'm all in Cardinals. Plus, their head coach has got a sweet house, if you saw that on NFL Draft Day.
All right, Jets, Broncos. Broncos haven't really played anybody yet. Their record might be a little deceiving, but the Jets aren't anybody either. So I think the Broncos are going to continue that streak and beat the Jets.
I'm a Vic Fangio fan. He used to be the defense coordinator for the Bears. The Jets, they're bad. They might be 0-16 or 0-18 again. And I'm all in Broncos. I think we're about to get to the real good games here.
Next up, we got the Dolphins and the Raiders.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Those are teams we've actually been right on for the most part. We got the Raiders, picked them to beat the Ravens and the Steelers. And we're picking them again, man. We're picking them to beat the Dolphins in this game. So, Ben, I want you to do the honors.
Oh, Raiders.
Go Raiders, baby.
Listen, experts, I'm also in on the Las Vegas Raiders. I love John Gruden. He's an animal, Chucky. And I think that you're playing in Las Vegas. It's real hot out there. And I'm going all in Raiders, especially Tua. Not sure if he's going to play for the Fins. If he doesn't, it's over for the Fins.
Next up, Buccaneers and Rams. Probably the most exciting matchup of the week. And we are going to pick against the defending Super Bowl champions, another team that Evan and I are really high on, but so far we've been right about, the Los Angeles Rams. Getting Matthew Stafford could be that extra piece that kind of pushes them over top, and they're going to show that this week against Tom Brady and the sorry Buccaneers.
Well, fellas, I'm going against you on this. I just watched some of Gronk's Monday Night Football interviews. He hardly practices, doesn't watch film.
A player you would like to coach.
I would love to coach him. He just shows up, and if he feels good, he runs good, and he runs fast. I'm all in on Tom Brady and all his nutrition. I'm going Buccaneers, fellas. Buccaneers over the Rams.
Seahawks and Vikings, another game that kind of discussed today at lunch, decide which team we're taking. But we're going with Seattle on the road against the Vikings. The Vikings 0-2, a little bit deceiving. Just haven't really been able to close out games. But we're taking Seattle on the road. Just think they're a little bit better of an overall team.
Fellas, I'm also going with the Seahawks. I would never pick an NFC North rival versus the Bears. So I'm going against anybody in the NFC North. I'm picking the Seahawks. Russell Wilson is the man. And he's going to get his receivers back on track. Lockett had like 190 yards last week. I'm all in Hawks, 12th man.
Next game, the Packers and the 49ers, the Sunday night game.
Big game.
Evan and I just can't pick against the NFC West. Definitely the best division in the NFL. Probably one of the best divisions in sports. And we're sticking with that theme here. 49ers over the Packers. Despite the Packers getting a win last week, I still think they're pretenders.
Listen, I'll follow up my theme. I would never pick for an NFC North team because I'm all in on Bears Super Bowl. I'm going 49ers. Go, Jimmy G, go.
So last of our games, the Eagles-Cowboys, the Monday night game. The Eagles, of course, had a huge playoff win a couple years ago at the double doink game. Do you remember that one, Coach?
Well, that was real tough for all of us Bears fans. I put away all my Bears clothes that night.
That's something we can relate. Tough playoff losses. Bengals, Steelers, also.
Yeah.
Pretty sad one.
Yeah.
Back. But we're not taking the Eagles. We're taking the Cowboys. Cowboys off to a good start, 1-1. Almost beat the Buccaneers on the road to start off the year. So we're taking the Cowboys at home against their division rival.
Evan, you realize how special this is? The final circle on our first ever Beat the Experts win.
Oh. Well, fellas, this is a tough call. You got the Jerry Jones Dome. You got HBO Hard Knocks. You got Zeke. You got Dak Prescott. And I got Dak Prescott on one of my fantasy teams. We're called the Dak Street Boys because of his leadership. I'm not going to go against the Cowboys because I think when they play at home, they're pretty good. So I'm going also all in HBO Hard Knocks, baby. Cowboys.
All right, all games have been picked by both teams, and that's going to wrap
Go
up
Bears.
Week 3 of Beat the Experts. Like I said, this most likely will be Evan and I's first win.
Probably not.
Marking it in. But Mr. Affatato, thank you for coming on, and hopefully your Bears can go 500 this year.
Thanks, fellas.